welcome to my craft room. My name's Julianne Richards and I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator in southern Tasmania. House has gone all quiet, Stevie's gone swimming, so I thought I'd get underway with this cute box card. So as you join, please let me know you're watching. Let me know if it's your first time and where you're watching from. That would be lovely to know. And my phone's just told me that I'm live, so that's pretty cool. I'm just checking the volume, make sure that's okay. My phone's just told me. There we go, so that seems to be working okay, and I'll share it over to group. So lovely card making group ladies can watch as well, and then we'll be ready to go. So that's all gone there. Okay, so I'm watching on Facebook. I'm watching on my streaming software, which tells me when people are watching on YouTube as well. So please, if you're watching on either of those, please let me know. Let me know you're watching. Okay, so let's get started. Now, this little project, or two little projects I wanted to show you today. This is a box card, a pop-up box card, as you can see. It's a little box. It folds up in the envelope a bit like that. And holds open like that. Now, I used to make a lot of these box cards when I was selling my cards on my Etsy store. A lot. I used to customise them and sort of make them special for the people that were receiving them. You know, football fans, I'd put a football there. Music fans, I'd make a music theme. All those sorts of things that people would want on their cards. So I made so many of them over a period of, I don't know, 4 or 5 years, I suppose, that I basically got heartily sick of them, and I haven't made one for the longest time. But a friend of mine, one of my ladies in my team, said she found one online, and I thought, yeah, I should give that a go. And then as soon as I saw the specialty designer series paper from the Spooky Suite, which is an online exclusive available next week, I thought, that is going to make the cutest little box card. So that's what I've come up with the box card as well. I'm not sure. I don't really celebrate Halloween as such. So I'm not sure who I'll give it to, but it's got a little love you theme, which would be quite nice. And then on the back, you've got a little panel for your personal message as well. I haven't actually cut that yet because I wanted to explain to you how I do the sizing of these cards when I work them out, because there's no fixed well, there's a couple of rules you need to follow, but there's no fixed sizing. So you can make them basically any size you want to fit the decorations you want to use. And the other little thing I made with it, I thought it would also make a wonderful sort of like mini album. I haven't popped anything in there because, as I said, I don't celebrate Halloween. My boys never did. So I don't actually have any Halloween themed pictures to put in there, but I know some parents and grandparents bring their kids around our area now. So I'm sure there's lots of proud ghosts and ghouls photos out there that people could do in a little mini album like that. So as you know, I do offer 2 mini album kits if you're interested in the flip flap mini album concept. I've got I hope that's not that. Okay, I've got a travel album, which is this one here with the on the go. When I say they're a flip-flop album, they actually use our wonderful flip-flaps in there to keep your pictures and journaling and everything in place. So that's the on-the-go one there. And I've recently introduced a wildflower birthday version, which is a little prettier, and it's got all the beautiful gold bling and all the embossing in the paper there. And you can use that for birthdays. I've got this one all set up with my recent on-stage adventures because I don't have any girly birthdays in the family. So that's a kit that's available as well. So you get the cardstock for the cover, you get the ribbon, the bling, you get the 16 assorted sized flip flaps, you get the designer series paper, in this case the specialty designer series paper, or the just the normal designer series paper as in the on the go. The wildflower birthday one is $45 with including postage, and the on the go one is $40. Only difference being that this is a specialty paper and it costs me close on $10 more per pack, so I'd have to hand on that price difference. So $40 for the on the go, $45 for the wildflower birthday if you'd like to get those and reach out to grab them. So anyway, so that's another version of this one. I'm not offering this one as a class as such, although if I get a couple of people who say they would like it, then I'm sure I could be persuaded. You could twist my arm to produce this one, but I'd need a couple of people who were interested in it before I plough on and buy the stuff I need to buy more of the paper. Okay, so that's the two little projects with this spooky suite. Let's make the box card. Box cards will be the theme of my, now wait a minute, July's August, September's August. So, wait a minute, July, August, September. Box cards will be my September Fun Fold class. So if you want to watch out for that, you'll be able to do at least one of these little box cards and some other variations of box cards as well. Okay, so when it comes to cutting this little guy, the principle you really want to go by is that you want it 4 inches wide to fit. This is to fit a 6x4 envelope, okay? Of course, you can scale them up for the bigger envelopes, but I want this one to fit a 4x6. And thankfully, our cardstock is 8¼ inches long, so I can do that and just use half a piece of the cardstock. So the theory is, or the rule is, whatever width, okay, so whatever width and depth you want the card to be, those two numbers have to add up to 4. Okay, so then you do 2 of them and 2 of them, they add up to 8. So for example, just because I've mucked that up, here's a square one that I made when I was still playing around. So this is 2, 2, 2 and 2. So they add up to 8. That's the theory, okay? So and that ends up being folded flat to fit into an envelope. This one, I wanted it a little bit wider than it was deep. So I went 1.5, 2.5. So 1.5 and 2.5 is 4. Double it is 8. You could also go 1 and 3. So 1 inch thick, 3 inches long. So 1 and 3 makes 8. So whatever you want, you could go fancy schmancy if you wanted. You could go 2 1/4, 1 3/4, as long as they add up to 4 inches. Okay, so hopefully that makes sense to you. So you want the 4 sides to add up to 8 inches. So and you need 2 of them to add up to 4. So 2 and 2 was the square one, 2, 2, 2, 2, and this one is 1.5, 2.5, because I just wanted it that little bit wider to fit my decorations. Okay, so once you've decided how wide you want the card, that determines how thick you're going to get the card, and you can start actually making it. I hope that makes sense. Anyway, I'll cut it now and that'll all fall into place for you, I'm sure. This one is 5.5 tall. So obviously you don't want to go too tall because you're not going to get it into your envelope if you're going a 4x6 envelope. But you also have to be careful that it's not too short so that your decorations sort of come up too high as well. So it's all sort of a matter of trying to work out how tall your decorations are, how wide they are, and then you can fit the box card to suit. Okay, guys. So I knew that I had that really tall tree that I wanted to use in my decorations. So when it comes to organising how high the flaps are, I've sort of left the box part of it fairly short, and I've kept the sort of pop-out part taller. But I'll cut that for you as well and show you, because that's something else that you can decide. You can have it sort of more equal box and equal flaps, or you can go one way or the other. Let's cut that and I'll show you how it's done. So as I say, it's a 5.5 tall. So I'll just trim my black cardstock down to 5.5 first. You could probably go to 5 3/4, or 5 7/8, depending on what the measurements of your cardstock are in your market. Our cardstock is sort of a funny shape. It's A4, so yeah, it's a bit weird. Anyway, so that's 5.5, and as I say, our cardstock is 8 1/4 wide. So what I'm going to do, as I mentioned, is it's going to be a 1.5, 2.5 box. So what I'll do is I'll score at 1.5. Score, not cut, 1.5, and then another 2.5 further, so that makes it at 4. Okay. And then another 1.5 further makes it 5.5. And then 2.5 further on makes it 8. Yes, 8. So either way, whatever dimensions you decide, you need to be scoring it at 4 and you need to be scoring it at 8 to get it to fold in the way we want. Now I've decided I want this one to have more happening at the top than in the box itself. So I've scored it again, turn it 90 degrees, scored it at 2 1/4. So 2 1/4 is going to be the height of our box, and the rest of this is going to be where the decorations happen. So that's the scores I've got there. It's the width of my box and the height of my box. So what I need to do now is just go over those top score lines with my cutting blade. This time you can actually use your scissors if you want. Just cut it down to that height line, that crossways line that we've scored. So take them all the way down. You can use, as I say, use scissors if you're more comfortable. Just cutting down those score lines to the cross one. There we are. And forgive me, that is a new blade, but for some reason the black cardstock really plays up with blades and they get a little bit furry, but that's okay. I can give them a bit of a wipe off. A black cardstock must be particularly fibrous, I think. Okay, so all we need to do now is just cut this little end piece off here, that little 1/2 or 1/4 inch tab, and this is our tab where we're going to pop our glue. Okay, so I can get rid of my trimmer briefly and we'll put this little box together. Okay, so we're going to pop some glue on the very end. Now, I love our glue. You know I do. I love, 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 love our glue. But I found, and when I was making a lot of these box cards way back when, before I joined Stamping Up even, I used to use a glue stick. And the reason I would use a glue stick, it's really bad, that blade on this. Anyway, the reason I would use a glue stick is because it gave me a little bit of wriggle room to move it around, but it was also quite gluggy, so it stuck where I wanted it to stick, and that probably is more important when you see what we're going to do later on. It stuck where I wanted to stick straight away, but still gave me the wriggle room I needed if I needed to change things around. So basically all I've done is curled this baby around, stuck the tab that we created into the back of the end. Oh, probably should have scored it first, Julianne. Score it first. That's better. And stuck it down like so. Hopefully it will come. Yep, that's it. It will glue. There we are. And you've got your box. So we have to choose the part where the back is going to be, and I would generally put where the seam was towards the back, and I can't see where it was now. There's the seam there. The seam, I would put the seam towards the back. Choose that to be the back there, and then just fold these ones forward. Okay. And that's taking the what is it? That's taking the shape that we want there with our little box card. Okay, so now what we need is the little brackets inside where everything is going to sit. Okay, so I'll pop that aside for the glue to set. Actually, this glue stick is so old. I don't know if glue sticks go off. It could be that it's not going to glue it because it's supposed to be blue. You know that there? It's been sitting around for so long it's actually gone white. We'll see how we go with it. As I say, I find them, as much as I love our glue, I do find the glue stick, the viscousness of that is quite good for this card. Okay, so we want to make our little brackets on the inside. They're going to have 1 or 1/2 inch tabs on either end of them to actually glue to the inside of the card. So we decided that was 2 1/2. So our little brackets need to be 3 1/2 so that we add a 1/2 inch on either side. Anyone who's a metric person, I apologise. I just don't even know where to start to make these metric, but I'm sure you could work. It's nice round centimetres, nice round inches we're using, so that's okay. So 2 1/2 wide they were. Oh no, wait a minute. They were 2 1/4 deep, wasn't it? It's 2 1/4. Yep. So I want 2 1/4, and I want 2 of these brackets. and they have to be 3.5 each. Oh man, that's getting worse and worse. I may have to swap out this blade. Oh well. And it is only a new blade, which is worrying with the black cardstock. Anyway, so I'm going to put little 1/2-inch tabs on either end. Okay, so there we are. That's one of our little brackets, and there's the second one. Okay, so they're going to sit inside our card, so I can pop our trimmer away again, bring back the card. So again, I'm going to use the glue stick, just for the reasons I've already mentioned a couple of times. Pop some glue on the end of the brackets there. So one at a time, I find easier. Bring in your box, sort of hold them, those little tags in and down if you can to start with. Lower it into your card. Apologies if you can't see, so lower it into your card, then let the little tags go, position it and firm them down just a little bit so that they sort of sit in the place where you want them to be. So come in from the bottom as well. Apologies about the pinging noise. My family have decided to start messaging each other, which is very weird because Mum's not usually out of bed at this stage. So that first bracket is in, and because of the glue stick, it's sort of at least staying where I want it to stay, sort of. Okay, like that. And then what I always do at this stage is have a bit of a sample fold and firm it down where the glue is, just so that it folds and it's in the right spot before we go on with the next one. Okay, so same thing for the back bracket. So one towards the front and one towards the back was always how I do it. They're going mad. What is this lot doing? I'll have to get involved afterwards. Okay, so this is our back bracket. So again, I've popped glue on either end. I'll sort of tuck it in slightly, lower it into the card and do the same thing. Now we have got a bit less wriggle room this time, so it's a little bit trickier to get our hands in there, but line them up with the sides, the bottom, the top, because I've cut them the same height as the card. Just firm it in, and again, do your sample fold both ways and firm it down with your fingers. Now, if I'd used our glue to do that, the Tombow glue, they wouldn't have held in place sturdy enough for me to do that sample fold. It's still doable, of course, but you would have had to wait a little bit longer to till it actually firmed up a bit. Okay, so that's the two little brackets in. Now, I know a lot of clever people who can think visually, who've made these, would actually probably decorate those brackets before they put them in. But with me, I'm terrible. I can't visualise something until I see it in front of me, which means I can't visualise, to be honest. So I need to sort of see it in there and move things around. So that's the fundamentals of a box card. So you've worked out how wide you want it to fit with your decorations. Little skinny ones like this one. This is the 2x2 that we talked about. You could do things in that like, if you just had like little flowers or something that weren't very wide and you were building them up to look like a vase or something. But as I said, with my little trees and things, they were a little bit wider than that, so I needed to go a bit wider. So let's have a look at how we're going to decorate this, and hopefully I've got everything I need there. So the specialty paper, the Sweet specialty paper, has these little cutouts, and they're what I'm going to use in the box card itself. But of course it also has the designer series paper part of it. It's got some tags, and I've only got half packs here because I actually used the rest of it for a card swap. So, a paper share. So forgive me, I've only got them. They're obviously 12x12, but these are cut down. Cute little patterns on one side, lots of candy, what are these candy corn things. I think they're quite popular in the States, but I've never seen them here. Little lollipops and things. So there. You've got some more little characters here. You could quite easily fussy cut those if you wanted to. The orange is Timid Tiger and the pink is Petunia Pop, I believe. This one here's got lots of little windows, so it'd be cute fussy cut as well. Some tags, things like that if you wanted to use it for scrapbooking. Greys and blacks there. This is a pretty pink one. And you've got some other good things for scrapbooking there. That's actually a whole little street scene, which I haven't got both sides of it because, as I said, I used it on a paper share, but yeah, it's really cute as well. And again, the little animals. So there's actually 12 sheets, but as I say, I've got halves there because I used them in a paper share. Right, okay, so something just fell on the floor, that's okay. Let's get decorating this little guy. Oh, no, not that little guy, this little guy. Okay, so, right, I'm going to put paper on this flap, and this flap, and I'm going to put some paper on the back here as well. So that's the paper I need to cut. I'm going to just make up the measurements as I go because I haven't got anything cut. As I say, I wanted to show you how to do these from scratch. So I'm going to make it with a 1/4 inch. Oh, mad, this family's gone mad. I'm going to make it with a 1/4 inch border around. So let's check our measurements. So that was 2.5, and that is 3.25. Okay, so 3.25. So 2.5, 3.25. Scale that down will be 2.5, 3.25. Let's make sure I've got enough there. Okay, 3.25. I have to go 2.5 that way. 2.5. So 2.25. By 3.25, 3. Okay, so that's going to fit on there. Yep, that's the right size for that one on the front. As I say, just work out your measurement and then take off the border that you'd like. If you'd like a smaller border, just take off the 1/8 of an inch rather than a 1/4. I'm just making sure that's what I've done with the first one. Yep, I have. Then it's going to be these ones here. These are 1.5 inches. Yes, so 1.25 inches. Am I going to get both out of one? No, I'm not. 1.25 inches on this one there. And that's not going to be big enough, so 1.25 inches. By 3. So let's glue those on. Now you could layer this up, use a contrasting colour between the two. That's not a problem at all. Whatever you decide you'd like to do. Definitely going to have to get something onto those furry corners. I don't want to change my blade again. It's working quite well with the other coloured cardstock. It's just this black that's gone a bit furry. Okay, and then I would put a piece of designer series paper on that back on here as well. You can be selective with that. You can actually make it part of your scene if you've got like a picture, something that with little, for example, the windows. That's what I've used on the original one, or little characters or something. You can actually make that part of the scene so it comes forward and starts to build that little stage that you're doing. So on the original card, I used, bend everyone forward, I specifically cut out a little window, but to be honest, you didn't really see it once everything was on there. So I thought, well, that was probably a little bit of a waste of a window. So what I thought I'll do, I'll just use black because I'll use our windows for something else. I'll just use a black in the background so that that's okay. I'll just use a black in the background just to cover it in. So it's got to have to be 2 1/4 as well. I'm going to leave that a little bit longer than the 3 inches on the front. Just leave it a little bit longer so it goes further down the back and covers in a little bit down there. So that's what I'll do there. So I don't even know how long that is. It's probably 4 or something. Okay, like that. Okay. So there's our paper on. We will have also, of course, pop that white panel at the back, and I've got some paper here, but we'll do that at the last. Okay. It's really bugging me, those furry edges. I'll fix them later. Okay, so from the die cuts from the pack, got some spooky creatures. Now, this is an online exclusive, this paper, if you're wondering. As I say, it's part of our July release online exclusive. So if you're big into to Halloween, then just watch out for that. Yeah, so it's got, I think that's the second or third or first. Anyway, for here in Australia, it's the first Tuesday in July. So this is the spooky tree there. So I'm going to pop him on the back. As I say, you make the back of this, you can make this part of your design as well. So I'm going to pop this little tree, a quite big tree actually, on the back there. So it forms a backdrop to our little design. And then the next one is this little guy. I'm going to put him, he's like a mummy, hippo mummy. He's not very well wrapped up for a mummy. Now, he's quite floppy. So you could just glue him on there and get away with it, but he is quite floppy. And so I would use quite a lot when I'm making these cards, our acetate, our window sheets. So what I'd do in something that was tall and floppy like this, I would probably just cut a length, and it wouldn't have to be very thick, just a length of a window sheet, and use that, and we'll use it for a couple of things actually, use that to just make this guy a wee bit firmer, a little bit less floppy, just give him a bit of strength behind there. So I might use my glue stick again. It's just things like this, the glue stick was perfect because it basically, as I say, gave that immediate stickiness, but it was still okay to rip it off if it ended up being in the wrong spot. So I don't need a lot at the end. I just need enough to stick him to the card. Let's bring that back. I'll pop that. Put some more glue stick on the end of that little piece of window sheet and pop him here. Okay, so I've just, if you can see that, I've just glued that little piece of acetate to the back of the bracket. That's the first bracket that we did, and he'll sit there quite nice. What I'll do is I'll sample fold it, test fold it, and then just firm it where that glue is so that it doesn't move. So there's our little guy there. Now, the one thing to remember when you are making your cards is every time you've popped something down, make sure you check it so that the decoration doesn't go too far off. When it's folded, at least, the decoration doesn't go too far off the edge of the card, okay? So if I'd popped, so either way, that's okay. So he's inside the footprint of the card. That tree is a little bit outside, but I know I've got some wriggle room there, so that's not a problem because my envelopes are, 4.5, something like that. Okay, so there's our little guy there. So also in this kit, or in these die cuts, we've got this little cauldron here. Now the little cauldron, I think, is supposed to go with this green gloopy boiling globby mess there. It's got a little straw or, I don't know, something, stirring spoon or something. Anyway, and you're supposed to pop those together, or you can put those together, okay? But I thought because this needs a little bit of colour, and because our little hippo man has a treat bag and there's little lollies all over it, I thought rather than using the green goop, I would pop some of these candies on there. I've got some, enough. I think I need about 6 of them. Some of them are back in the bag, so there's 4 there. Make sure that's all. No. Need another couple. So I'm just going to pop these inside. Oh, not you. I want you. Oh. Okay, pop these on in the cauldron. Okay, just sort of stacking them up so they look like they're all piled in there. I think that's actually enough. I'll go with the 5. There we are. So that's just a bit more, a bit more trick and treaty sort of thing. So that's going to be on the next level, and that's nice and firm. That one doesn't need reinforcing, I don't think. I'm going to pop a wee bit of glue just along the bottom there. And I've swapped glues, haven't I? Okay, I'll have to be a bit more careful with this one. Swap it on there, and I've just balanced that at the top of the little bracket there, and the glue's spread, which is another problem with our glue. It's spread a bit further than it should. Okay, keep that there. Firm it down, as I say, with your test fold. There we go. So that's our little cauldron. So we're building ourselves forward as we go with our little scene. So there's a little cauldron, and I thought with the original card I popped a little crow type raven person there with some pumpkins that's out of the kit. But I thought we'll make this one a little bit sweeter. We'll add this little fairy, this little teddy bear or whatever she is in her costume. We'll add that to this one. So just glue at the bottom. No, it has to be on the front. Glue on the front of the bottom. Now this one could probably do with some, just to increase the height, but that's okay. We'll put her there. Okay, so she's there at the front. She's quite big. Okay, make sure she doesn't hang over the edge too far, which she doesn't, which is good. So she can stay exactly where she is. Okay, so that's our little scene there. We've got our hippo at the back, and then the pot with the, actually she is too big, I'm afraid. Our little fairy lady has to go. She's too big. Let's see if there's something else that's a little bit smaller, something that's not going to cover over everything behind it. How about this little guy? Yeah, no, he's better. I'm going to pop this little guy instead. Now, he doesn't have very much happening under here for to glue him to, so I'm going to use some acetate for him. Now, there was a little bit that I chopped off the other piece. Can I find that? Can I find it, or did I drop it somewhere? That's okay. I'll cut another piece. just a tiny piece of acetate for him. As I say, you can swap and change as long as your glue doesn't set too much. So I just need a tiny piece for him. Actually, I'm going to pop some, I'm going to make a big piece because I'm going to pop some bats on here as well. So I just need a tiny piece for him, just an inch long or so, just to give him a bit of, attach him to the front. So a little bit of glue there. Bring him in. Pop the glue on him there. Now he looks a bit like a lollipop. And then I can add glue to the bottom and use that to attach him to the card. So there we go. That's better. Yeah, he's not so big. He's not going to cramp the style of anything that is behind him. Except he's moved. Yeah, I wondered whether this glue stick would actually glue, given that it's so old. That's quite cute. It looks like he's sort of suspended in air there a little bit. And you find with these that once your fingers get stickier and stickier as you go, things start to want to stick to your fingers rather than to the card, which is an age-old problem for me anyway. Why don't you want to stick there? You do not want to stick there at all. Okay, we'll go back to our glue. I'm sure it'll work this time. Okay. If you don't stick, I'm going to give up on you. Okay, that's better. Okay, so he's there. Our glue decided to stick him. There we go. Apologies for that. That was a little bit... Oh, man. What are you doing to me, dude? If he will not stick, I may have to come back with some clear tape or something. He's there now. Let's just let him sit there for a minute and dry. I don't know. Sometimes things just don't want to go. Anyway, as I said though, oh, there's that piece that I'd forgotten from before. Okay, I'm going to add some bats. And this is another great thing that you can do with those. Apologies, everyone. My iPad just died. The battery just died. So if I'm not seeing comments, I apologise. So I'm going to add some bats to the scene. I need one more bat. I'm going to add 3 bats. And I'm going to use the acetate to make one of the bats at least hover over the scene. So let's get that little piece. So here is a little skinny piece of, it's a bit hard to tell, isn't it? Yeah, I might have to get the glue dots out for that one. Yeah, it's a little skinny piece of acetate. I'll use our glue this time. Glue dots are too far away to reach. Pop one of them onto there. Okay, we've got a little bat lollipop there. These are the guys. I'm just going to pop 1 or 2 of them onto our tree at the background there. There. And one up here. Not that you can see, but yeah, one up there and one there. Just above the rhino's head. There we are. So 2 little bats at the back there. This little guy who I've got on a piece of window sheeting. Now I'm going to pop him on the second layer, or on the first layer with our hippopotamus. But he's going to just sort of hover in thin air like that, which is quite cute. It gives it a little bit of dimension there. So let's see which glue is going to behave itself. Probably none of them. I may have to reach for the glue dots or the double-sided tape. Okay, so anyway, I'll pop that in behind our rhino. Make sure that it doesn't go too high because we don't want it to be over the top of the card when it's closed. Just pop that on there and firm it down. And you know, I think that's going to not work either. That glue's decided to be very, very, very naughty. Let's try this one. Yes, so answer to the question, blue glue does have a life expectancy. Okay, so I'll make sure that's not too high, but it's also high enough to be seen. There we go. There we are. So there's that little bat sort of hovering, and I'll have a sample close, make sure he's not too high. No, he's not too high. He's just at the top of that tree, which is good. A little guy there, he might be a little bit too far over that side, but I'm too scared to move him because he's misbehaving himself at the rest of the time. What if I fold it the other way? Is he in that way? Oh, that might work. We'll fold it that way so that everyone's inside the footprint of the card, so it gets in the envelope. Okay, so that is that decorated. As I say, we've used the acetate to solidify, to sort of give this one a little bit of strength. We've given it to hopefully keep this guy in the card and behave himself, and we've used it to have this little bat sort of hovering in space like that, which is pretty cool. And that one is, the decorating is pretty done. So as far as sentiment's concerned, as I say, I don't really have any Halloween sentiments or anyone that I need to give a Halloween card to. So I've just used out of Be My Valentine. I've used Love You. And we've got this sort of jug, this amphora here, that's also in the Specialty Designer Series paper. So I thought, what better? It's obviously I'm saying it might be a love potion. So I'm putting Love You. So this is Love You potion. Yeah. Here we are. Just in black. Glue this guy on. I haven't used any dimensionals on this. I think it's quite tall enough. I think anything more height, you might have trouble getting it through the post. So I've just glued that onto there. So there's our little Love You there. And as far as the back goes, we'll have to cut a piece of white for that. So we've already decided that this thing is 2.5 wide. Yep, 2.5 wide and 5.5 long. So my inside piece back piece will be 5.25. Excuse me, please move. 5.25 by 2.25. Taking off that 1/4 inch. So as I said, these are really fun. You can fix the size of the card, as I've done here, to suit the size of your decorations. You've got tall, skinny decorations. You can have it as a tall, skinny card. You've got wider decorations. You can do a wider version. If you've got really wide decorations, you can even do a landscape version of it by making it, sort of flipping it sideways and making it really long and short. No, yeah, long and short. Wide and short, I suppose, is the word. Yeah, so there we are. So that's pretty much done. So that's our little guy there, our little Love You Halloween themed box card. So with that, with our little panel on the back there. So that's that one. Here's my original one. They're pretty similar actually. There we go. So there we are. So as I say, give that one a try. I love to see what you come up with as far as what themes you use your box card with. Yeah, flowers. Anyway, you can really dress them up to suit the recipient. Put lots of personal hobbies and things in there. They don't want to sit together in my picture, which is annoying. There we go. So they are 2 little box cards with the sweet, sweet Specialty Designer Series paper. And as I say, I've also done the album cover for the mini flip flap album. If a few people said they wanted to see that as a kit, then I might think about it. But as I say, I'd have to get a couple of people to make it worthwhile buying the designer series paper for it. Okay, but there we go. So thanks for joining me today, guys. Our sweet sale ends tomorrow, which is the 30th of June here in Australia. So that finishes tomorrow. So if you've got some sweet components, sweet products on your wish list, now's the time to get one, get the cheapest one half price during the sale. But I have mentioned that many times, so I'm not going to harp on about that too much. But yeah, it's a great time. 2nd of July, I think, is when this designer series paper comes available. Grab some and make some cute box cards. Okay, any questions, please let me know, and I will chat